Evening, people, and welcome to BNR. My name's Asim, and talking of new, let's give Wiki a proper introduction today. Let's forget everything else. Let's forget all the hellos, the goodbyes, the farewells. Let's give Wiki, the tactician, our a big welcome. It's taken just about 6 months to get this guy on. For those who don't know, he is talking tactics. That's your page, isn't it, Wiki, on Twitter?
No, I'm not. I've not been active on that. It's just my name, Abdul underscore Wakil.
There we are. There we are.
And
It took
before you introduce me, I want a public apology of Mr. Sajad Iqbal.
He's
Why is
already
that?
started
Yeah.
apology.
Because, apology.
because he's been after no Gakpo. He's been after me for ages. If we looked at his recent Twitter post, he said, "See you in 6 months." So can I have
okay,
that?
okay.
That was a week ago.
He wants to get it on here.
Okay, so it's taken him 5 months, Gene. I think that warrants an apology. Let's make him feel comfortable.
I apologize. I give him this credit. He's actually on today, so fair play to him.
But Gene, bloody hell, it's taken him 6 months to come on, or 5 months, whatever you want to call it, and it took 38 seconds for him to demand an apology. I think that sounds about our Wiki, doesn't it?
But he's got G'd up, ready to go for me. I can tell. He's another. Avi can have some fun with me.
I was looking forward to seeing Avi.
We don't have Avi today, but Wiki's in the house, and I'm sure he'll find some room to go at Gene. So you might have your work cut out, Gene, today. So don't feel don't relax too much. But look, what shall we discuss? I think we'll leave the Bobby and in sort of his farewell and tribute to a later stage. We've had actually 2 games to discuss, guys. We didn't have a post-match reaction. I think, did you have a post-match reaction, Gene, after the Leicester game? Oh, I should have known you had a part-timer anyway, but but look, let's go to the game. Yesterday was supposed to be a fairy tale sort of an occasion, and it wasn't an occasion, but we faced an Aston Villa side who came with a plan, and they've come. And I think Guardiola was, correct me if I'm wrong, he said they're probably, I think it was Klopp maybe, he said they're the second best Premier League team after the World Cup. And, you know, in parts, especially against us in the first half yesterday, they looked a real good outfit, and they gave us a lot of problems, which we'll sort of discuss later on. But generally speaking, Gene, what did you make of the game? And as ever, we look at the lineup. Were you happy with it? Because it was the same outfit that started against Leicester.
Yeah, in terms of the lineup, Asim, I was happy with it. And to be fair, that was the team that I was expecting to start the game. So no real qualms with the actual lineup, but the actual performance, first 45 was diabolical. I thought we were just not at the races. To be fair to Aston Villa, they made it really difficult for us. They were aggressive in every single challenge. They came at us. They showed us no sort of respect. That they were, they had like you mentioned, they had a proper plan. They were time wasting when they could. Martinez, we didn't really create anything. I think our first shot on goal was in the second half. So it just goes to show that they were rough and ready for us. And to be fair to them, they've been brilliant since I forgot his name now. Emery's sort of taken over. He's completely transformed the side, and we could see it from the start that this Villa side is not there to be taken lightly. But we just weren't ready. I think there was so many of our players which we just weren't at the races.
Why were we ready? Why were we ready? Why weren't we at the races? You know, I know Newcastle had a decent result against Brighton in the week, but we're going for top 4. Yes, our hopes, but even before the game, were slim. But why weren't we ready?
I think it's just I don't. To be fair, it's accumulation of things. You look at the occasion, all the hype around Bobby leaving, all that sort of thing. I know that shouldn't really play on the team's mind, but I think it probably did in terms of the fans as well. There was so much build up before the game, and then on top of that, I'm not saying we took Aston Villa lightly. We didn't at all. We just struggled last time, and to be fair, I think it's the first time where we actually came up against a dogged midfield in Aston Villa's midfield, and we really struggled. And it just goes to show why if you look at the middle of the park, I thought their midfielders were brilliant, from Kamara, McGinn, even though McGinn was playing slightly further forward. And the other lad, I forgot his name now. whatever he was.
Douglas Luiz.
Yeah,
Jacob
Louise. Yeah, Louise. They were all they were red rough and ready for us, and you know you got to give credit to them. But it just goes to show that our midfield, Asim, where there was not say gaping holes yesterday, but we just struggled against the physicality of Aston Villa. So look, sometimes you got to give credit to the opposition, but you know it's obvious to see where we need work and where we're looking to buy.
Vicky, was a bit of a reality check for Liverpool in the sense of, I know the system has had a lot of been talked about a lot in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks since Liverpool have implemented it. But in terms of, and Gene touched on it, the way that Emery and his high line, his aggressiveness, they are set up perfectly for Liverpool, especially when they've got the likes of Kamara and Douglas Luiz, who are press resistant, and they are very, very aggressive. And you have to give Emery credit where he plays this 4-2-3-1/4-4-2 system, where he plays it with a generally a high line, and it troubled Liverpool because Liverpool didn't have any space in between the lines.
Yeah, they actually played a similar system to us on the ball when the box midfield. I'll tell you what, Kamara and Douglas Luiz, they impressed me. I was at the stadium, it was quite low down, and I thought Fabinho struggled a lot with the intensity. You know, I thought, you know, maybe he can do a job. I don't know about him next season. Maybe two guys like McAllister and Mount can help him with Trent in there as well. But they actually play that similar system with Douglas Luiz, Kamara, and then left-sided 10, Jacob Ramsey, and McGinn was getting in there at times, and they bullied us, to be honest.
They did. But, Gene, look, Vicky just touched on it, why, sort of they bullied us. But, no, I think, like I said, it was a bit of a reality check. And I love this system. But at the moment, how many times have we been talking about it? Until we get some summer signings and we fine-tune this system, going forward, it will, there'll be some bumps on the way. And yesterday was one of them. And it doesn't matter what system you're playing, if you don't win your battles and you don't win your duels in midfield, then you're gonna come, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think that's what the issue was. If you look, and you mentioned there are going to be bumps on the way, and I think this was a bump. This is a side that was in form. They have a system that they've been playing over the last 4 or 5 months. You could tell it's a new system to us. The players that are instrumental in this sort of system, like let's say Trent, they didn't play well. They nullified Trent. There wasn't any sort of space. That you mentioned the high line. Normally in a high line, we'd always have the pace to get in behind. The ball we should be able to be good enough to play the ball over the top. And I think at times we were looking for that ball over the top too much. And we were like forcing it, sort of thing. So because let's face the music, Asim, that we lack creativity in the midfield when Trent isn't on it, let's say. So we struggle in that sense. But generally speaking, we are going to have bumps on the road. We know we are going to be very, let's say, active in the transfer market. Obviously, you're going to touch on McAllister being close to being signed or whatever. So it just goes to show, look, it's towards the end of the season. There's a couple of games left. We'll play them games. We'll see out the season, and then the real work starts, where Liverpool have to go out and go and bring in the players that we need. And then we've got a full pre-season behind us, where they can actually work on the system, the tactics, all that sort of thing, and we go again. But I wanted to ask, what did you make of the game? What did you think? It's always us answering the questions.
Me?
What did you think of it?
It's nice of you to ask me for once. I can actually express my opinion as well. But look, I think, generally I agree with both of your sentiments regarding the game. I think it was tailor-made for someone like Nunes, actually. When some team rocks up at Anfield, if it's not Arsenal this season, generally speaking, Manchester City of sort of last 3, 4, 5 seasons, if any team comes with a high line at Anfield, I think, wow, and we're gonna take advantage of you. But you have to credit them. They are high, but they're very, very compact, and they block the passing lanes in terms of, and they've got legs. They had, especially, I think they sat off us. They sort of protected the lead in the second half. Liverpool increased their intensity as they chased the game. But you have to give them credit. And I don't think Emery gets the credit he deserves. Look, he's very, very close to our heart and our club, Steven Gerrard. But there is, in terms of difference, in terms of coaching ability, it's chalk and cheese between Gerrard and Emery. And like Klopp has said, they have been the second best team after the post World Cup, and you saw that they are very, very well drilled, and Liverpool found it difficult. And in Henderson and Curtis Jones, we've been waxing lyrical about them and the system for the last 5-6 weeks or however long have we been playing the system, but they came up against players that really harassed them in midfield and they struggled. And I don't want to say they went they were hiding, but when a team comes up like that with a plan like that, it doesn't help where Liverpool's main players like Ibu, I don't think had a good game. Salah, Diaz struggled on the wing, and Curtis and Henderson. So that's half of the team not playing well.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter who you're playing against, with whether it's Aston Villa or Manchester City, you're going to struggle. But I think you have to hold your hands up and give Aston Villa their flowers yesterday, that they had a plan and they executed it brilliantly in the first half. And like I said, they've got legs. And even when Vicky mentioned this 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 setup, when they're suffering, and you saw it in the second half, you've got the likes of Ramsey and Bailey who've got legs, who can tuck in, and they are so deep. And when they need to track our wingers and fullbacks, they can do so. So it's this fluidity, flexibility from their shape and setup, and in their personnel profiles that really sort of made us, encounter a big test yesterday. But you know what? We credit Liverpool. We rolled our sleeves up. It was a lot of huff and puff. And I think I even tweeted at halftime, Gene, that Liverpool needed to they were too obsessed with that over-the-top ball from Trent. And although we found Diaz a couple of times, Gakpo a few times down the middle, we were just looking too much. Now, when you see that high line, you think we're just going to get in, we're going to take advantage of the vacated space. But I think you have to give advantage to them that, and the amount of crosses that Concert and Mings snuffed out was absolutely unbelievable.
Joke yesterday. Honestly, I can't believe how well he actually played it. I think so many of the football fans have slayed him for so long. And, it's funny, isn't it? It turns up at Anfield and it's probably one of the games, the game of his life. It's just one of them things, isn't it? It always seems like it's always against us.
Yeah, exactly. We also made McGinn look like Iniesta at times, and he's not easy on the eye, and I'm so glad that he's one player that was linked to with Liverpool for a long, long time. And every time I saw that, I just turned the page or flicked over to the next, internet page on my phone, where I'm so glad. Yes, he puts a shift in. He'll run for you all day, and he's annoying. And he's that kind of player that you don't want to come up against week in, week out. But in terms of quality for Liverpool, I don't think so. But look, Aston Villa fans love him, and because he does a job for them. And doing a job exactly what they did. And like I said, they won a lot of duels in midfield, especially in the first half, and credit to them. But I read somewhere, Wiki, that the system's been found out, we've been found out, and a few other things. You get the overreaction, whether it's on a WhatsApp group or on a Twitter feed.
Tiny. I heard you on the call on the way back.
But what did you?
Honestly, man.
What did I say?
You were saying crap with this, with that.
Obviously, you rings me up straight after the game. Obviously, I'm pretty peed off here. Just missed out on top 4. He expects me to say, yeah, we played well. Obviously, I'm going to say
we were crap. We overreaction, man.
Okay, so we weren't crap yesterday.
Yeah, we were crap. But there's difference between saying you were crap yesterday and we just crap overall.
I said, you were on the phone talking about the game. I said, we were absolute shit yesterday. That's what I meant. We were crap yesterday in the game.
Look,
I'm telling you, this guy. First thing, 2 things he's doing as soon as he come on. Gone for me on both occasions. Ricky, if you want to go, let's go. Go on.
Can I go put the kettle on?
I haven't even said a word. Twice he's gone. As soon as he comes on, he wants an apology.
Overreaction.
He's gone for me.
He's gonna expect the system is new. Halfway through the season, there are gonna be games where we don't turn up. We look like rubbish like yesterday. But look, like you were saying, the over the top balls, the balls are on. Look, we kept going for them because at the end of the day, the 10s, they're not good enough. As good as Curtis has been for Liverpool Football Club, if you want to be challenging for the title, Curtis, first of all, he doesn't score enough goals. He's impressed me off the ball, I'll be honest. He's better than I thought, but like a Gundogan, he come to pick the ball up from the centre backs, but Curtis goes wide, this, that. But at the end of the day, our 8/10s go wide. That's the problem, and then we have no one in the middle. You understand? Our 8s and 10s are supposed to break into the box.
But Vicky, do you think that's by design or there's sort of a deficiency in ability?
It is by design a bit because we do want Salah inside next to Nunes or Gakpo or whatever. So I don't mind. That's why I wouldn't mind a Mason Mount playing on the right hand side. But we've got to be able to play through the middle. That's why I think people saying where's Nunes fit in the system? Gakpo's the real deal. This that I do believe Gakpo's a brilliant player, but to be honest, I'd like to see him in that left-sided 10, which he did play for 25 minutes.
Yeah, he did, and that we'll come to that. Because if okay, since you brought it up, Vicky, let's discuss it. You and Gakpo on the where Hendo is on that graphic, yeah, the left-sided 10, 8, sorry, and go in. Sorry, Henderson, sorry, and go into a number 10 position when we've got the ball. But where does that leave McAllister then? Because if you're going to believe the reports where this is a done deal, more or less, I can't see.
I think he gives us options to play up front. Of course, when Nunes is out or whatever, but I think he'll be a good backup to McAllister in the left-sided 8 position, especially at home against lower league opposition. I think it could work. But I think Nunes and Jota should be our starting central striker options.
Gene, where do you fit in all of that discussion? Do you want to see Gakpo up top, or do you want to see him sort of pop into the false 9 positions, or do you want to see him where you saw him the last 20 minutes? But Vicky's right that he played well, and we've seen him in the right-sided role a couple of times this season. I think it's Real Madrid, and we saw him against just recently, maybe against Brentford, was it?
It wasn't great though, Asim, in them positions.
Yeah, I think it limits as well because
he wasn't
come inside.
He wasn't, Gene, but this one where he played for the last 25 minutes of yesterday's game, it's a lot more natural to him because he's naturally going to come onto his right foot, like we've seen against his days in PSV. Yeah, so just about to say PSG, PSV, and then the position that he started at Liverpool on the touchline, but his natural sort of tendencies is to come inside, and he can come inside from that position. Do you see Gakpo sort of, being a shoe-in for that position, or do you think no, it's going to be McAllister and it's going to be Thiago? Because let's not forget, Thiago needs to come back into this team. If you're going to play Gakpo as a backup or McAllister, where does that leave Thiago?
Now, I'll be honest. I'm more of a Gakpo plays further forward in the 9 or the false 9, whatever, or in the 10 if we're gonna play the 4-4-2, 4-3-2-2, whatever you want to call it, yeah. Whatever Vicky calls it, he's got 3 different systems.
Whatever Vicky calls it.
This is the new system. Anyway, right? But you know what? Look, I'm more him playing further forward. Whenever he's played in the further forward, he's done really, really well. And I know you guys, and I know you both are just hardcore Nunes in the 9 next season sort of thing. And I've always been the one that's a bit like, let's say, look, I'm not fully sold on him yet, and that's the simple truth. I'm not. But that's what I mean. I'd like to see it. Would I like to see both of them further forward? Probably, yeah. It might even suit Gakpo and Nunes to be, let's say, sort of partners if we were to go with four up top. But right now, when I saw Gakpo playing the false 9 with the correct midfielders, with the if he was to sign a Mason Mount or the McAllister, hopefully that'll be done. I think that will improve Gakpo a lot more. He doesn't need to come further deeper to collect the ball. He can play slightly further forward. And I genuinely believe his finishing's a lot better than Darwin's. So I think he'll get a lot more chances. And I think he'll take his chances. So me, I'm more of a fan of him playing further forward.
Well, the problem is if Gakpo is playing central, then you have to expect Diaz to score 20 goals.
But Diaz didn't have a bad start to the season.
He didn't. But I know it is early, but he's not a natural finisher or a natural box player like Sadio Mane was. That's the problem. If you have and if you want to have Nunes and Gakpo in the same system in the 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, you can still implement your box midfield, whatever. But the problem with that is you have to have Salah tracking, and you don't want Salah tracking. And if not, Gakpo has to do like a Bobby-esque where when the ball switches the other side, he covers Salah and goes into that central kind of midfield option. and then Hendo shifts across, so we have 5 across the midfield with Salah up front, which we've done many times. But does Gakpo have that in him? Off the ball, he looks a bit suspect to me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think, but this is why I prefer Gakpo is in a sort of up top down the center against sort of low blocks. But horses for courses, isn't it? When you've got someone like Nunes to come off the bench, and like I said, he was tailor made for someone like Villa with the high line yesterday, because Gakpo a few times got in, he chested it down, and then once Gakpo gets going, he's hard to stop, as we've seen when he's driving through midfield. But it takes 2-3 seconds, and in the Premier League at times, 2-3 seconds, 1 second is too late. Never mind 2-3. So, but look, I think Klopp was saying in the afternoon, if the post-match conference, that we just needed to calm down, and I agree with you guys, and especially what Vicky said regarding the system, where it's going to take time. I saw some quotations from Van Dijk. He said, "Look, I'm told pre-season is going to be really, really intense, and we're going to get plenty of time to work on this system." And that sort of buoys me with a lot of confidence, where we've only had 8-9 sort of games, and that's all we've had. You've seen in the sort of first 3-4 games, players were giving instructions to each other. I think that Leeds game away, sort of pops into mind, where Trent was giving instructions to Ibu, and we've seen it with other players as well. So, and never mind those, you've seen the problems that Guardiola and City incurred in the earlier parts of the season. And even when we won them at 4-4-2, not 4-4-2, when we played 4-4-2 at Anfield against City, is they were sort of going through that transition at that time. And I think Foden, correct me if I'm wrong, was playing really wide. Is that right?
Yeah, Foden was.
And you could see that they're having problems. Gary Neville thought they're messing about. It wasn't them messing about. It was just taking time to really fine-tune the system. And it clicked. And I'm sure it'll click with us as well, especially when we start signing some players come the summer. But let's move on to the ref. I think that needs a mention, because I thought he had a shocker, not just for Liverpool, but both sides. And I think he's the same ref that Klopp went really storm into and put his face really close to him a couple of weeks ago, and he actually ref this game. And I think, like I said, I thought he had an absolute shocker, and it really frustrates me when refs are not accountable for their decisions or their performances on a weekly basis. They don't come out. I'm not for one probably for refs to come out and do an interview and explain their decisions and this and that. I'm not. They need to be sort of media trained and all that sort of stuff. But there needs to be some sort of accountability. And I don't know where the Premier League are going with this, Gene. Because yesterday, like I said, the Gakpo foul, the Henderson penalty, it could have been given, but I let him off for that. But the offside goal and how VAR sort of got involved, I was in the stadium as well alongside Vicky, and the whole stadium were confused, because we got an announcement saying it's a VAR offside check, and then we've seen the ref go to the video screen to sort of assess it. We thought, is this an offside check, or is there a foul in the build-up? What's going on? But whatever was going on, it was just a shocker all around.
It's shambolical, Asim. All season, the refereeing in the Premier League as a whole, let's say, has been diabolical. There's been so many instances where they've got it wrong, where VAR have got it wrong, and yeah, it's easy to say, let the referees come out and speak. That's not going to happen. They're probably the most protective entity going. No, they never. Nothing, they always seem to get away with it every single time. And to be fair, I'm getting a bit sick of it now, because yesterday, even everybody was baffled. I think I watched a clip on Sky Sports. I think when we scored the goal, even the referee on there was saying, yeah, this should be a goal. Even the commentators were saying this is going to be a goal, and then bang, it's no goal. It's been ruled out. So it's just so confusing. I'm just sick of this now. Especially we seem to not be getting the rub of the green recently with refereeing decisions, and especially Klopp. That's why there's been so many times where he's come out and actually had a go at them, because it's just been shocking. And that's just and look, Muzzy goes, the standard of officiating in English is the worst amongst the big leagues. It is. And you look at Europe and you see VAR decisions, bang, the decision's out within a couple of seconds. You get the correct decision. Us guys in the Premier League were just sat there waiting on an age to get any sort of decision that comes out. And look, overall, the referee yesterday I thought was diabolical. The amount of the decisions we didn't get, they were so aggressive in their play that even the yellow cards, I felt like some of their players should have got yellow cards a lot earlier. And as a whole, what can you say? We've been sat here. I think we spoke about the refs, and I don't want to use the refs as an excuse, but like I mentioned, it's been diabolical this season.
Look, Vicky, in terms of VAR getting involved, we're all told that they should be getting involved when it's sort of a clear and obvious decision or overturn for them to get involved. But yesterday, how can they rule that the defender, because that was the main point, talking point, wasn't it? That the defender he didn't play the ball; it was a deflection, and it's a subjective decision. But if the ref hasn't called it in the build-up and it's not offside, why are you getting involved?
Yeah, I think the real problem is not having people who know the game in the VAR section. I think that's the main problem. Yeah, it is subjective, but even then, the referee should have gone. He saw it, and he clearly saw him play the ball. So I just don't understand where they come to that conclusion from. So
yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the main problem. We need to get. I think a lot of ex players, pundits have spoken about Rio and all these guys have been saying we need players who have played the game.
But who's going to do it? Look at them out. Let's be honest. The refs get a crazy amount of abuse week in, week out, from the terraces, from people's sofas, and they're number one lad to go to actually hurl abuse to. But why ex-players? They just want to go into the studio and talk tactics, just like Sufi's talking tonight, and they just have an easy job. Why would they want to go down the referee route? I just don't see it, and I don't see it happening. And I just think sometimes they just, I don't know, they just contribute to their own downfall.
And I think the constant changing of rules doesn't help either. No one ever knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about a few. Let's move on, because I'm just going to get angry about talking about the ref all the time. But some individual performances, Gene. I mentioned it earlier that Liverpool was struggling with some individual performances. Doesn't matter who you play, you're going to struggle when the likes of Diaz, Salah, Ibu, Curtis, Henderson, half the team I mentioned there. But there's another player that I want to talk about. He's had a decent start, and we have to be very, very careful when we don't want to be writing off players very early, especially when they've come out back from a long injury. And Diaz is one of them where we've seen some moments of brilliance from him. I think that he scored against Tottenham, but yesterday I think he struggled. He got plenty of service from Trent early on, but the end product was a bit questionable for me.
It's not just this game, Asim. I think the Leicester game as well, where I just felt his passing wasn't there. His link-up play wasn't there. He looks at least a yard off here right now. Look, he's after an injury like that. I wasn't really expecting him to let's say cause havoc this season. He's more of a next season sort of player. So I'm just gonna wait to see how well he does it next season. But yeah, look, let's face the music. He hasn't been great since he's been back. I know he's got that goal. The first game back, he had a couple of glimpses where he had a couple of good touches, running on that adrenaline sort of thing. But then sooner or later, you get found out sort of thing, and he's not fully fit, he's not fully ready. And again, a change of system, coming back to a new sort of system as well. So it will take him time. But look, there's a great player in there. We've all seen that since he came last Jan, and yeah, look, he's another player. I'm actually looking forward to him in the new system when next season. And I'm not worried about Diaz. I wasn't really expecting he'll come back fitter, stronger next season. So yeah.
Yeah, Vicky, I think the word is a bit of perspective when it comes to Diaz.
Yeah.
That, he will come good. He's going to show some moments where he's the Diaz that we saw pre-injury. But your general thoughts of his performance, or anyone else you want to call out from yesterday?
I think Diaz is a bit of a weird one because he suits our style of play, the 100-mile-an-hour counter-attack. I think he's caught in the middle now a bit, where we're playing a bit more football. Sometimes we want to reset play, and he's going off on one. It's a bit like Kevin De Bruyne and Pep was shouting at him. So I think sometimes you just want him to play that extra pass, reset play, give it back to Robertson or something. But sometimes he's just always 100 mile an hour. Seems a bit erratic to me, but I'm not worried about him. He's the same with Jota. He just needs a run of games. He's going to be brilliant. And also, no one really mentioned this. When he came as in January, did he come from
Yeah.
Porto? He was more of a touchline winger, but we've seen him play on in the inside now, and he's
Yeah.
receiving it and playing on the inside quite comfortably. So that transition is also a good sign. So that's why you see Curtis Jones overlapping him on wide parts of the box as well. So yeah, I think he's come on well, and he's bulked up as well, which I like to see. And he's always giving it 100% on the pitch, which I know Mr. Iqbal likes. Like,
But Vicky, you mentioned Diaz being a touchline winger when he came, and he's been sort of converted into an inverted striker, if you like. How much do you think that is down to our system? Curtis being sort of going to the wide left hand side, hugging the touchline, and sort of interchanging positions, but also at times you see them both inverted to allow Robertson on the overlap. How much do you think that is down to Robertson not being sort of comfortable in the first phase of build up, but really going and sort of arriving late into boxes and the underlaps, the overlaps, and sort of playing to Robertson's game? How much do you think that is down to Robertson's sort of strengths?
I think it's a bit of both, a bit of a Klopp, because he likes his forwards to be attacking the box at the same time, all three forwards. So that's why. Plus Robbo, I think when we mentioned it on the Twitter, the 2-2-6 with Trent inverted. I don't think the main thing is the three at the back for Liverpool with this system. Is more about Trent getting to central areas. And we know Klopp doesn't like having three on the last line. Yeah, it works in the build up, but I think we can use him in overlapping situations. That's why I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we'll sign a left centre back like a natural side, like a in Inacio. I just can't see it, because a lot of the time Robbo's in that sort of when teams are deep, he's in that sort of half space area anyway. So we'd rather have someone who can actually go forward and overlap.
Yeah, okay. Gene, we'll probably touch on transfers later on, but he mentioned something about Trent being midfield. Someone, I didn't put it in my agenda, so we'll discuss him right now. There's been some links about Timber, a right-sided right back, centre back as well, comfortable in possession. I don't know if he's sort of comfortable in midfield as well, because I've not really watched him. I'm not going to lie, but what do you think? Are we going if we're going to get a fullback? Where do you which side do you think we're going to get one in? Is it going to be the right hand side or the left hand side?
Well, this is the thing. I think you posted a video of Simikas looked like a good match to me, I think, going over to the cop and clapping him. So it just seems like this is another thing. If he's off, then what? Then we'd have to obviously weigh up the options. I think we have got a few youngsters in the right back area, so I think we won't sign a right back, even though I wanted us to sign Walker Peters at the time, because I think obviously now they've got relegated. I like Walker Peters. I think he'll do a good job there. I still believe we will sign a centre back, because I just can't. I just it's we just have to sign a centre back regardless, because we can't rely on Kanate being fit for the season. Matip's going to be a year older, 1 year left in his contract. Gomez is unreliable, so we have to sign a centre back regardless.
Can we use Gomez as a left-sided centre back, a bit like Akanji has done for City?
I don't know, man. I've not. I know where you're coming from. Maybe, but from every time he's really played, I know he's done a decent role at right back.
He came through as a left back.
Yeah, no, even when he first started, he was playing at the right. Rogers played his first few games were at left back.
Yeah.
But I think them days are gone, man. I think I can't see him playing in.
I just don't see him as a centre back anymore.
This is what I'm saying. So we have to sign. If you believe that he's not a centre back, then we have to sign a centre back. There's no, if that leaves us as 3, 2, let's face the music, are injury prone with Kanate and Matip. We have no choice but to sign a centre back. We have to sign a centre back, be it left footed or that's going to guys that's good enough to play on that can move out and is comfortable on the ball in the left back area, or a general centre back. There's no, we have to sign a centre back, and if we don't, we are going to struggle next season. And what you mentioned in terms of the other sort of players, Asim, I don't know, man. In regards to Timber, I watched Timber against Liverpool and I thought he was brilliant against us. And that was my first time I've actually seen him play. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I watched the Eredivisie or whatever it is. I don't, but he looked really really good when I watched him. So he's a good player. He's very comfortable in the ball. I know that there are question marks in terms of his height, because I don't think he's the tallest.
Yeah.
But as a ball playing centre back, he was brilliant, and he's quick at the same time. So I'd love to, look, end of the day, right now, there are so many positions which we need to strengthen in bar the forward line. So a player that's comfortable, that can come in, and I think he's Dutch as well. We've got a good Dutch connection at Liverpool as well. I'm sure Van Dijk would have given him the prop, giving Liverpool the props on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, why not?
Ricky, do you think our sort of signings, especially in defense, depend on where we see Trent next season and long term? What I mean by that is do we still see him in this 4-3-3 general shape coming into midfield, or do we see him in sort of generally in midfield going forward, and then we sign a permanent right back, a more of a conventional right back, just to give him a bit more protection on that side?
Klopp alluded to do it. He goes, I want. This is his new position now. So I think I think this is his best position. I want to see him in midfield, starting from the 6, a double pivot, or even an 8, and moving into that role. But and us play sort of like a natural defensive right back, like a Gomez or a Timber. Timber can play that role, like a Walker. But I think
I thought it's dark. Bloody hell. I know.
yeah, the
I know.
typical Abbey is putting me off.
I know. We're all suffering from a living crisis, a cost of living crisis. But bloody hell,
I told him to put the light on.
Well, carry on.
I forgot what I was saying now.
That's Abby's fault. That's Abby's fault. But in terms of Trent's position, long-term position, you were saying that in this sort of role, this is his best position. And why is that? Is it because he's sort of still receiving the ball to feet? He's still got everything in front of him, and that plays to his strengths.
I think because of that, we don't lose an attacker then as well if he starts from right back. Do you understand? So and we get two sort of 10s that can basically play in the box. I think that's his best position, to be honest.
I agree with him. I think he has to start there, Asim.
Yeah.
Unless you want to play sort of a flat back four and play Trent, and then he's got freedom to go into the box in the final third. But I think then you're asking too much of him. And like I said, Klopp doesn't like having 3 centre backs or natural centre back. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe you get Inacio. But I actually said a couple of weeks ago that we're going to see both systems, 2-3-5, 2-2-6, whatever. With Thiago, where does Thiago fit into all this? Because he's not a natural 10. Can he play backup 6 to Fabinho?
Yeah, I think he can.
Against
a lesser type of sort of opposition. But look, all these questions will be answered with our sort of policy in the summer, and it's intriguing to see which way we go with it. Well, yesterday it marked an end of an era. Yesterday, Gene. I mentioned old faces, new faces, but we had 4 faces that were going to officially leave in. And I know I mentioned Shimikas. It just seemed strange to me the way he went to the COP, and he made a concerted effort. Because the players knew they were going to come back with their families and do the whole round the field. But he did it before, and the only 4 players that did it were the guys who were officially living in the summer, with Millie, Ox, Keita, and of course Bobby Firmino. And we'll probably we'll give a tribute to all the rest of the 3, but we'll focus on Bobby because he only deserves it. And I could have added anything on this slide: the false line, the system, the catalyst.
So many words that you can say about Bobby Firmino.
So many things, and it was an emotional ending to his. But I'm so glad he got his farewell, he got his goodbyes, and he had his family around him as well, because this is a player, and I wrote there, defines Klopp era. Would you agree with that in terms of, I know every player was special, in this team, whether it was Mane, whether it was Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, you can run, down the spine, but Bobby, he was the glue. He was
the maestro of this side, man. honestly, Asim, there's no words that you can start and go on all night talking about Bobby Firmino and what he meant to Liverpool Football Club. You mentioned the catalyst. He was a proper magician on the ball. He was the artist on the ball. What a player! You look back and there's so many times where he's done something, and that when you look at the Klopp era, there's certain players that we say he is the system because it wouldn't have worked without him. Salah and Mane, they owe this lad everything because the selflessness that he showed on the actual pitch for them to thrive and to get the goals that they got. What can you say about him? He deserved every single thing that came his way yesterday. And look, on and off the pitch, that infectious smile, the way he is, how he played the game, and there's some of the times that I remember that one skill against Newcastle when he's that little flick. There's so many moments. One of the questions I had for him, I think what I'm gonna do is at least get you two to at least give me your Bobby moment of him in a Liverpool shirt, because that's one thing I wanted to ask.
How many moments were there?
Your favorite one, your best one.
PSG winner.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's the one.
That
yeah.
one when that first celebration.
I got another one. Lockdown header last minute against Spurs.
Yeah. You know what, Mike? Go on, ask him. Yours.
I would probably go with the PSG, but that the moment I think it was away to Stoke where he took his shirt off as well.
Yeah.
But those were bad days.
Those were bad days. But I think which game was it where he actually started as a false nine? Was it the Man City one? I think that was a big moment in terms of him as well. Because let's be honest, he struggled to an extent when he came. He couldn't really, and he talks about himself
when he first came as well.
Yeah, and he talks about himself that the previous manager didn't really understand me, and he was joking around saying who takes the credit of this sort of transition from that old position to the false nine, and he goes, Klopp is saying it's me, I'm saying it's together. So, but in joking aside, they must have had a conversation where what they saw is a player who's so comfortable back to goal. And one thing that this guy, we're not saying bye to a legend here. We're sort of saying bye to one of the best footballers that I've seen in a Liverpool shirt in terms of his technical ability and how he brought others into play. And I think, forget the legend for a second, we're going to miss Bobby as a footballer. And you saw him come on yesterday and provide us exactly the thing that we were missing, for 70, 80 minutes or whatever, how long it took him, to come on. But we could talk about this lad all day, and we're going to be talking about him next season as well, because there'll be moments saying, you know what, Bobby would have done this.
I know, 100%.
That's what's going to happen. But what did he provide as a footballer, Ricky, that was so special to this team?
Control. That's all I can say. Control. Because there's so many times last year where me and you actually spoke about it. If Bobby didn't play, we had no control. He was the fourth man in midfield. He was so many times him and Salah combined. And even I remember, I think going back to the moments, I remember when Bobby played on the left against Man City. Was it away at the Etihad in the Champions League? And Salah played up top.
Yeah.
The sacrifices for the team. That just sums him up. It's such a clever player, can play across all front four, played in number 10. I even wanted him to play in the 8/10. Muzzy was laughing at me. I go, like a Griezmann type, a 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2, whatever. Play him in the 8 in the Henderson position, because he's clever enough to play. He's probably better off the ball than Henderson right now.
Yeah,
that's all. Bobby, man.
Wow. You mentioned
you're about to cry.
Honestly, if you forget his defensive due is how he worked hard. He was the first line of defense. The amount of times he won the ball back for us was, is unbelievable for
Arsenal at home this season.
Look at that. Even Arsenal he took the piss out of Arsenal every time he played him.
He did. But even now, he came on, sat on Partey, and that's it. We started controlling the game. His awareness is unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. And I think another word you could see, he was the connector and selfless as well, because he created the space for how many years? 3-4 years for Mane and Salah. Mane and Salah were special players outright, individually as well. But you always have that one player that doesn't make you look, good, but it's the sort of chemistry that you have as a trio is what makes you special. And the way he used to sit on the halfway line for Salah and Mane to sort of take advantage of that was a joy to see. And this is where I come to. I jotted a few sort of trios down over the years, whether it's in sort of across Europe or in the Premier League. I just wanted to ask you guys and get your thoughts. Where does Mane, Salah, and Bobby rank amongst them? So I just want to sort of give you some trios: Kaká, Shevchenko, Crespo, Bale, Benzema, Cristiano. Messi sort of features in about 3-4. Obviously, it shows you how good he was. Messi, Eto'o, Ronaldinho, Rooney, Tevez, Cristiano, Messi again, Pedro, David Villa, and a few in the Premier League: Bergkamp, Henry, Perez, Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling. We know a thing about them. Aguero, Sane, Sterling, and I don't think we could sort of compare them to someone like Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. But in terms of the Premier League guys, where do they rank? Are they the best for you, or?
I think you'll have to say they're the best. They did it for the longest amount of time. Even the Chelsea guys, the United guys, they did it for 2-3 years. These guys did it for 4-5 and consistently as well.
100%. They're definitely, in terms of a trio, Asim, these guys are going to be talked about as the greatest Premier League trio, well, since now anyway, because they were just, like you mentioned, 4 or 5 years, every single year. Their goal scoring starts, the assist starts are off the roof. And it's not just, it's the way they played together as well. You look at Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo, they did for what? One season. Yeah, they want to play Champions League as well, Abdurrahman Hussain. I know you Arsenal fans don't know what that is, boys, but they won a Champions League as well, yeah? Anyway, move on to the next one. You stay in your lane.
Don't forget that gold one. They always go about that gold.
That gold one. Didn't they win the title this season?
But look, joking aside, can we compare them to the best? Is that a meter of sort of success in terms of saying, look, they only won one Premier League? Why are you comparing them to the likes of Rooney, Tevez, and Ronaldo, or Bergkamp, Henry, and Perez? Is one Premier League enough?
Look, probably not, Asim. Probably not. Let's face the music. And look, they were up against, arguably, twice they lost out by 1 point. Let's say Champions League 2 finals. They were a bit unlucky. They're probably the unluckiest trio. We're probably the most unluckiest club. We were up against the bloody Man City of this world in this day and age. But look, in terms of what they did and how they played the game and what the amount of havoc they caused the opposition as well, it was just relentless for 4 or 5 years. These three were gonna, they just battered every single side. Every single one of them scored against the big sides every single year. So you can't really say much. You look at their records and it speaks for themselves. Look, I'm not knocking the rest of them. The rest were all great players. They were, they probably did it for a season or two. But 4 or 5 years, of what these guys did, these guys are number one for me in the Prem anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go through some comments. Let's see what the chat thinks. Shazad says only one title as well. Others won more. Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo. Are they? Do they deserve a shout out? Atik says no, but those teams didn't have City to deal with, and I think that's an important point. In any other era, I know the history books won't sort of tell us this in years to come by, but we had City to deal with, and if any fan base should understand this, it's the Arsenal fans and the couple of ones in the chat at the moment, that these guys are an absolute juggernaut, and 97 points, 96 points, normally that would win you the title. And you have to understand, Liverpool would reach 3 European Cup finals in 5 years as well. So it wasn't just looking after the league like Arsenal were doing this season. So, and in terms of goals, 338 goals combined as a trio. Mane, Salah, and Bobby, 139 assists. So, that is
plenty of sleepless nights over these three. The iconic clip. He's playing Everton midweek and he's talking about these. He goes, they scare me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even rival fans and rival pundits, Gary Neville, a Mank, I think he famously once said, and City were at their peak at the moment, that first Guardiola side with Sane, Sterling, and Aguero. And he said, you know what, I would prefer Liverpool's front three with Bobby, Salah, and Mane, because he goes easy on the eye, and they probably have a lot more not ability, but there's a lot more to them, and in terms of how dynamic they are. And one point everyone misses is you have to look what was behind these guys in terms of three sort of fairly conservative pedestrian midfielders in Genie, Hendo, and Fab. And a lot of these trios that we've been talking about, they've had a magician in midfield. Some teams have had a full a quartet of them. So you have to bear that in mind that these guys were sort of just feeding off scraps at times. I know Liverpool were a massive, world-class team, but in terms of their creativity, more midfield and goals and assists, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And these guys, they've just had to chase it down, had to take a couple of players on and score a goal. So I think you have to give huge credit to.
Can I just think about the Arsenal fans? They're going after me about Champions League final flights. You know what, Asim? I am so glad these guys supported Man City for 5 years against Liverpool. Every year they were supporting City against us, so Liverpool don't win the title. And finally, they got a taste of their own medicine, where Man City beat them to the title. It's the funniest thing ever. And I don't have much, I'm actually all right with the Arsenal fans, But now, honestly, I love the fact that these guys, exactly. Got it from them this season. Anyway, enjoy Champions League for next season. You're not going to win it, lads.
No, we're going to see them on the Thursday night when they get knocked out in groups. That's what's going to happen. We'll see you in Dublin. Well, look, that was an iconic moment. Bobby sort of look at Johnny. Johnny goes,
Bobby, man. He's one of my he's not my favorite player because look, I know there's to be fair, Asim, Liverpool fans, Bobby's probably the most loved Liverpool footballer. Let's say from Gerrard probably. Let's say because that's how much Bobby is loved by the Liverpool fans. Look, I think for me it's always going to be Salah, and I'm dreading the day he goes, right? But it was
give us a Muhammad. Give us a
young. But generally, there's not many players that can turn around and say that this football club loves them the amount we love Bobby Firmino, man. And hats off to him. What a footballer.
Yeah, but with any relationship, Gene, it's a two-way thing, isn't it? We're gonna miss him, but he's certainly gonna miss us as well. So, and I think it was a very touching where I think that the coach yesterday, I think Redmond put it out, it stopped outside his mural, and there was a moment there as well. So, look, he was a brilliant guy, brilliant human being, and that's what's important. We don't want just great footballers at this club; we want great human beings as well, and that's very important to this fan base. And because this sort of camaraderie that we create in the team, it comes from good people and good footballers. And when you got that going for you, the results show on the pitch as well. But moving on, I think Ali's asked me the question a couple of times now, so I've started. And he goes, Asim, your thoughts on Milner saying that the board overruled Klopp on giving Milner an extension? I caught a glimpse of that interview. I've not seen it all. But Ali, if you want me to sort of express my thoughts on it, we need the full context to this. We don't know what type of extension we were offering to Milner. Was it just a player one? Was it a player coach as well? If it was a player coach and going into a full-time coaching later on, maybe the season after, I would have probably been, a supporter of that. If it was just a player one, then I would have said, no, we need a different player. But you saw he can actually do a job. We didn't get the customary yellow card from Milner yesterday when he came on. But when he came on, he actually put a few tackles in and he showed the fight that we actually missing yesterday. And he got about the Aston Villa players. Does that mean he needs to stay next season? I don't think so. I think the board made this decision, whether they overrule Klopp, I think it's the right decision. And we wish him all the best. And I think it sort of segues into the next, point that we should sort of thank James Milner for his time, his efforts, at Liverpool, because he's been an absolute brilliant servant to this club, because on and off the pitch, he's been an example to everybody, Gene.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, he is the embodiment of Liverpool Football Club in terms of what levels are required to play for this team, in terms of training, in terms of the amount of over the years, how many times have we seen pre-season training, and Milner is number one in everything, the bleep test and the running and all of that sort.
Oh yeah,
this comes all from him. And every youngster that comes and that played for Liverpool over this period, when they come to Liverpool Football Club, they know what they've come in. They know who they've come to play for. And what a servant to the club, won everything with us, gave us all. Yes, he's played more times than we really liked, and I know we've given them a bit more, probably given him a bit of flack when he didn't deserve it, because we all knew deep down that we shouldn't have given, he shouldn't have played the amount of times he's played. But yet, every single time he went to that pitch, he gave us, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, what a
Yeah.
servant, what a player.
Who's in the house? Look who's in the house. Look who's in the house.
Here's
Yeah,
what his dad.
he took a day off. Did he take a day off today? Yeah.
Wakars.
He said, look,
Yeah, that is my name.
Is Wakars.
Avi the part timer. Yeah, bloody. If you can't go to Vegas and if you can't keep up with the heat, don't go there, bro.
Oh no, this is
Stay in your
support.
lane, man.
This
Don't
is
go to
support.
Vegas,
He's
bro.
on the plane. He's on the plane.
Well, he couldn't take the heat. He was supposed to come
We
back
did mention
tomorrow.
that.
He couldn't hack another night. He goes, I can't hack another night. I've got to get back. My buddy's gonna kill me, so he's on a plane. Came back.
No. Look,
You mentioned Milner, the Yorkshireman.
yeah, exactly.
He's one of our own, as Chinese would say.
But some thoughts on Ox and Naby, different sort of careers. Naby was supposed to be the midfielder. Klopp, alongside Thiago, called him like one of the best midfielders in Germany before he came to Liverpool. But it never worked out, Ricky, because we know it's for one reason, and one reason that was it was the injuries, and that sort of blighted his career at Liverpool. But there was a player in terms of profile and attributes. He was the perfect box-to-box midfielder for Liverpool, but it just never worked out.
Abby's probably gonna start saying some comment now. He knows I love Naby. Naby Keita was the one. I think he did us over. I think if he came good, we would have won at least another Premier League title. That guy had everything. Even the years before Klopp was speaking about him, he was Bundesliga Player of the Year once or twice in the team. Him and actually Thiago were rated as the best midfielders in Bundesliga. That guy had everything, honestly. And even last season, people are not giving him enough credit. I was at the ground. People are like, Ox, this, that, Ox, Milner, Keita, obviously. But Keita, I don't feel like he had the love of Liverpool fans. Maybe they were saying that he wasn't working hard enough or whatever. But I think last season he was brilliant in terms of appearances. It was his best Liverpool season, and also goals, assists. Atletico Madrid scored a volley. Newcastle away, he was good, and he was playing in a right-sided 8 position as well. The problem was, I think, last season was we didn't have one that him and Thiago. The problem was they were always injured, and
Yeah.
he never got enough credit. He played the left-sided 8 role and the right-sided 8 role last year.
Yeah, because he had every attribute. He could put tackle in. He could initiate the press. His counter press recoveries was unbelievable. He could, carry the ball, 5, 10, 15 yards. He could pick a pass. He can shoot. He can overlap on the right, like you touched on. I watched him last season from the clouds in Newcastle last year, and he gave, I won't call it a masterclass, but he gave a brilliant sort of an example of what we've missed over the years. And he complemented Salah. He go on the outside and come on the inside as well, with the triangles with Trent as well in earlier phases. But look, his career was just one of disappointment. I think that is I think Atik used that word, and I think that is the word that you need to use when it comes to Naby Keita, and to an extent with Chamberlain as well. He had probably a few more moments compared to Naby in that season where he scored a few crackers. Man City is the obvious game that everybody talks about, but he's another midfielder that even in this midfield, in this system or the previous one, that could have been a brilliant box-to-box midfielder, and he had all the attributes again. But unfortunately, again, injuries, muscle injuries, and annoying injuries, it just prevented him to sort of be a mainstay in this team. Whoever wants to take that question, be my guest.
Sajad.
Yeah, look, Naby, when you asked me, I was over the moon when we signed Naby. I finally thought we've got a player who's going to be good enough to take over the number 8 shirt, and I think we were all raving about him, thinking we've finally got the one player that we wanted. But what a disappointment, like you mentioned. He's just been plagued with these injuries and the worst thing about these injuries is
Salah Jadoo.
I won't be surprised, man. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. By the way, that's black magic. If those who are wondering what that is, honestly, I won't be surprised because that lad, yeah, every single time, even yesterday, I think I watched the clip, yeah, when he was holding the frame and he injured his hand, or finger or something, man. It just sums up Naby Keita at Liverpool Football Club, doesn't it?
Mm.
Every single thing he touched was an injury.
Yeah.
He was a walking injury, man, and it's just a shame
There, there was
because if
one harsh video doing the rounds yesterday where he was picking up the frame and
that's
he
what I'm
quickly.
talking about.
That was harsh. That was harsh.
It was harsh, but come on, Asim. It's every single look. He played a game for Young played for us for 2 months. Goal plays for Guinea, comes back injured for the season. It just goes to show what his
Yeah,
Liverpool has been about.
yeah,
Him against Barcelona, the first leg, he was unbelievable in the first 10-15 minutes and he got injured. And actually, people actually say it was that injury that finished him. He was completely finished after that. Honestly, there's videos of him, Rakitic, these guys, they couldn't get close to him.
yeah.
Even look at it when you Man City FA Cup semi-final last season, he was unbelievable that game.
Was
Mm.
That was
You
probably
know
one
what?
of his best games that I've seen. He was just
That
he
was
was
the Naby Fab Thiago midfield that we
yeah.
were craving for.
Yeah. You know, we've seen it with a couple of players. I think Sturridge was another where he lost the ability to run. Honestly, when you saw him run, you thought he's just going to pull up any second. I think Klopp, I don't know what the exact sort of quotes were, but he was clearly frustrated in one of the interviews where he was, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was just done. And Naby was, I think, at Paris when he, put that over the bar, and it's probably still in the French clouds somewhere doing the rounds. But he was just unfortunately made out of straw. But all these reoccurring injuries, like I've just touched on with Sturridge and a few other players who have experienced the same thing, where you just lose the ability, whether it's running or shooting. And Naby is one of them players, and Ox is another. But look, whenever a player leaves, we always wish them well, and I hope they just stay fit because again, when we talked about someone like Curtis, it's never a question about ability with these guys. It's about staying fit, and if they do, they might be able to do a job for some sort of lesser clubs. But let's talk about players coming into.
I hope you don't become a world beater after leaving us because I'm going to be beat off. Put it that way. Yeah, I hope he has a good career and he does well at a club. Don't get me wrong. If the guy my man becomes a world beater, I'm going to be swearing at him. I'll be honest.
No, and that would be Gene all over. But let's talk about new faces coming in. I think more or less. I think the reliable. I don't know his name. The Argentinian journalist. What's his name?
Avi.
No, he's not. He's not South American. I hope he's in the chat because he's gonna give me a big gun. He's not South American, even though he does spend a lot of time.
I don't know if you missed it. He's already been in the chat saying 2 signings before the 1st of June or something. I read something. 2 signings.
I know he spends a lot of time in Mexico, but that doesn't mean he's South American.
Let me find it. Where's it gone, man? I'm sure I saw something where he said 2 signings before Jan or something. I don't know. Before June.
It sounds like Avi. No wonder he wants a daily transfer show. He wants a daily transfer show. Although it does have a good ring to it. Wiki and Chip.
Yeah, get him on. Dude, let him get him started, man.
Daily transfer talk. Maybe there's something there.
Boys, 2 players coming before.
You wanted me to do a analysis on flipping Leverkusen?
There you go, boys. 2 players coming before June the 5th. There you go. See, he's already made his mark on the show. He's not even on the show.
ITK. Who daddy?
Avi still believes in Jude. He does, and you never know if we do get Jude somehow miraculously. Avi is gonna break. He's gonna break Twitter. Elon Musk is gonna be in touch with Avi because he's gonna be the main reason for breaking Twitter. Just for Liverpool's sake and Avi's sake, I hope somehow we get him. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened. But joking aside, guys, McAllister has been doing the rounds. A lot of journalists have been saying that it's a matter of time. Fabrizio, that South American journalist yesterday, said the same thing. 70 million is quoted. Some are saying it's a bit sort of less than that. But McAllister, I think it's not a matter of when now. It's a matter of it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. That is the right way around, isn't it? Yeah. Gene, what do you make of McAllister? I think he's more or less in the red shirt now, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm look,
Oh, yeah,
everybody.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Everybody knows my thoughts. I love Allister. I think he's a brilliant footballer. Watched him at the World Cup as well, and he's everything that we need, especially in the eight, so stroke 10 position that Vicky talks about all the time. Brilliant player. Everything that we need. Asim, he's bags full of potential. He's brilliant on the ball, off the ball. He's at the right age. He's played at the World Cup. And what if it is? I think it's 70 million pounds, actually, not euros. What's been quoted. And that
Mm.
Gaston guy that's reported it, he's very reliable. I think he's probably one of the most reliable Argentinian journalists. So I can't wait for him to come. He was the one player that I wanted. I've wanted Saicedo as well, but obviously his price tag is going to be around the 80-90 mark, if you ask me. So for us to get McAllister, I'm over the moon. Vicky can give us a
Vicky,
lowdown.
Vicky, you've been waxing lyrical, pardon the pun, waxing lyrical about McAllister. So here's your moment. The stage is yours. What is he going to provide Liverpool in that midfield come next season in the red shirt?
I think he's definitely an upgrade on Curtis Jones.
Okay.
You know my thoughts on Curtis Jones. I think he's done well, but I likened him to Gundogan before
Okay.
the whole of Twitter jumped on it. I said it first.
This is just tactical in the know moment.
Yeah, I think he can play both systems, 4-4-2. If you want to play him in the double six, that is, he can play there. If you want a bit more control, um, you can break into the box. He can carry the ball, and he's an RG. He's got bite. So it doesn't matter about the people saying 70, 80 million, 60 million. It doesn't matter about the price tag. We just need to get him in, whatever it costs. But I think we also need someone to complement him, a guy that's got legs. There's a few people in the comments saying we don't talk about Mason Mount, this, that. But I think people are underrating him. He was brilliant in that season. It was under Tuchel. He played on the right side in 8/10. Well, a 10 in 3-4-2-1 with James. James was inverted sometimes. He'd go wide, break into the box, and he actually scored it against us at Anfield. Do you remember that goal? I actually came from the left hand side. But yeah, McAllister, I think I really, really want him. And if we get McAllister, Mount, and another player, I'd take that over Jude Bellingham all day, every day.
Yeah, I think
Vicky, in terms of a six, though, do we have to sign a number 6, man? I've been going on about.
I agree, but I just can't see us signing a number 6 as well. Maybe we get like a Gravenberg type who can play a bit of both. I think Bilal Slough from Slough, he's always going on about Turam. Have you guys seen him?
look, I've not seen a lot of Turam. I've not seen a lot of Turam, but is he another left-sided or is he a right-sided six?
I'm
No,
sure he's the one that I didn't. Avi flipping say that. Is he? I bet he's the second player. I think that Avi mentioned.
yeah,
Avi's mentioned yesterday that there's been a 50 million bid submitted yesterday. They rang him. But you never know. Look, let's see how it turns out. There's interest in Turam. Avi says there's a bid. He's got some wrong. He's got
wasn't his source though.
Sorry.
He said
yeah,
it's not. It wasn't.
Yes, I think that's an important point as well. Yeah, my bad for Avi. Sort of chucking him down the pond there. But yeah, he's right. He goes, it's not my info. I'm just sort of relaying that information. But yeah, but let's see. But my question to you guys is, all these midfielders that have been linked, even we saw with Gakpo playing left side in midfield, if we don't get Mount, who the hell is going to play right side in midfield next season?
That's why I keep mentioning Mount. There's no one that they mentioned that can do that role the way we want him to do that role. Because if we get someone who's more of a central player like McAllister is, you limit Salah. He has to always be wide, and we lose that fluidity as well. Especially with Trent in the double six, we can get Salah even closer to him if he's playing inside. Especially if you want to play Nunes. Nunes needs Salah close to him, or someone.
Yeah,
look,
100%.
we have to. I think Liverpool will after McAllister. I think we will go all out for Mason Mount personally. It just now boils down to if the player wants to. I think from what we've heard, we've spoke to the player. He's open, but obviously with the new manager coming in, he probably wants to have a chat. But they've signed so many players. Where are they going to play all these new players? Mason Mount's gonna have to somebody's gonna have to give way, and it seems like it's gonna be Mason Mount.
Hmm. I said it a long time ago that I think McAllister, in terms of the signing fee, will be our marquee signing, alongside probably 40, 50 million for Mount, and about 20, 30 million for someone like a Gravenberch. It might be someone like Lavia, maybe a project signing of that ilk. But because because those thoughts and the quotations from Klopp early in the week said,
Asim, man, that is
sorry?
not enough.
No, because the reason why I mentioned that is we have to be realistic. Everyone wants on Agate. Everyone wants us to go and spend 100 million on someone like Caicedo or 50, 60 million.
Someone just mentioned Szoboszlai. I really like him. You know, I think about him. Poor man's KDB.
Yeah, I call him a BTEC KDB. But the reason why I mention this, Gene, is if Klopp is saying that we're looking in every department, then we could be bringing in some sort of attacker and some sort of maybe a left-sided centre back, a right-sided centre back. So there's two more players to come in there, and so we're not gonna. Let's be honest. Even though we want Liverpool to spend 300 million, it's not gonna happen. So
And then what? I just find that's madness. Then we've got some players to sell. We have to go and this was the summer where we had to go and spend decent amount of money, and for not signing a player for the sake of it of not spending an extra 15 to 20 million just doesn't make sense. We have to go out and spend. This was the summer that we have to go out and spend on it. And yes, I'm happy for the midfield if we was to sign a Mount or the thing or a McAllister, but at least go and get another biggie. We need another big signing. And if we have to sign a proper, if honestly, not signing a proper six this summer for me is criminal. Because Fabinho, with all due respect, over the last 10 games, yes, we've seen some improvement of him, but he's still miles. He's not the old Fabinho, is it? So we need to go and spend it on the 50, 60 million on an Agate or somebody else. Go and spend the money. We don't have a choice. And I'm sorry, but I'm not happy with you saying we need to, it's not enough. We've only got 160. They have to spend minimum 200 million. Minimum. Otherwise, other teams are going to improve. Other teams are going to spend it. Okay, United are the only one that's probably going to spend 100 because that's what we've been told. But they've got a lot of players that they're going to get rid of this summer, which they're going to command fees for. And if they get the fees that they want, then they're going to have a decent sort of summer as well. So, look, I'm not a fan of, we got to go out there and spend the money this summer. And I'm not going to, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to be happy.
If Lavia comes, he's a more of a project signing. He's not good enough to start over Fabinho at the moment.
So we've got three players, three midfielders that are leaving. We have to arguably they weren't projects,
my point is, Gene, is you want a six to come in straight into the team. Lavia doesn't come straight into the team.
That's what I'm saying. I want a proper six. I want us to spend the money on a proper six. Agate, go and spend the money.
Ain't happening.
Look, you know what?
I agree. We do need a number 6.
Yeah. Look, I'm trying to provide a bit of realism here.
People are speaking about Bajcetic. Where do you think he fits into all this?
The reason I feel, and I'm putting the Klopp shoes and his coaching staff shoes on here, or glasses, where I think they see this number 6 position is as Fab, Henderson, and Stefan next season. Whether that is good enough, I don't think it is, but I think that's where they're going. Maybe with providing a bit more legs in McAllister and Mount, it improves Fabinho as well because you're putting a bit more legs around him. And they're a lot more sort of comfortable in the build-up as well, and natural 10s rather than Henderson providing. But it's going to give us another dynamic.
The only reason I will let them off is if they actually went and got a Timber, or let's say go and spend 50 million on a centre back. Okay, and we missed out on a number 6 then because we've got a Mount, a Lavia, and a Mount, Lavia, and McAllister, and they've spent 50 million on a Timber at centre back. Then you think, you know what? I get it. I can understand it.
That's my point. My point.
If they're going, don't sign a centre back around 50 million, and they're still signing projects, that's just simply not good enough. That's just not good enough, Asim.
but it's not good enough. But as Shazad says, lads, our owners are FSG, and unless a substantial investment comes in the summer, which is gone quiet as well, Gene, is it going to come? Are these sort of signings going to come? And this is the reason why I'm being a bit realistic now. Everybody wants Ugarte, everybody wants Turan and Caicedo, but we have to work with the budget that we are going to be provided by these owners. They don't like to spend their own money. Are they going to dig deep in their own pockets? I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why I think it's going to, maybe you've got Gravenberch, Mount and McAllister, and then you could maybe spend about 30-40 million on a centre back, whether we go on.
Centre back is not, the ones that were, Anasio is going to be 40 million plus, Timber's going to be around 40-50 million. That's who you want. Are you going to want, what if we get a 30 million pound project centre back? Are you going to be happy?
No, I think we can go 40-50 million on Anasio or Timber. Right. I think so. I think we can.
Let's see.
So yeah, I think as we've been going on for about hour and 15 minutes, I thought it's going to be around about 50 minutes today. But yeah, whenever we talk transfers, it always goes over. But I think that's the wrap for tonight. Anything you guys want to add before we go?
No? I don't know, man. I'm already peed off, man. I've got a face on already. Ending on a meme with a face on, man. Talk about Bobby Firmino for 2 minutes, and then I'll be all right again.
Where do you think he's going?
Napoli.
Ooh, any reports?
I'm sure there was a few that came out that he might be going to Napoli. I think it'd be a good club for him, if I'm honest. Napoli when he just won the title, they're probably going to set. Obviously, Osimhen looks like he's going to be going. So I think for them guys as well, cheap deal.
Vicky, Italian league normally suits a retirement home.
Yeah, a bit slower. But we probably play Napoli. I was going to say in Champions League next season, but sorry, yeah. I'll stop there. But I think that's the wrap, guys. I think that's everything we've covered. Everything that we were supposed to be covering. I was just about to ask you: are we getting top 4? Late twist?
Yep, I don't get it.
Oh no, we've got a super chat. I'm glad I actually seen it. I think there's
here we go.
There was a super chat from Ash that I missed. I don't know if Ash is in the chats today, but I should have saved it on my WhatsApp. But I do apologize officially.
This is NBA. Is Bilal?
Yeah, it is. Let me get my apology out of the way to Ash. So I do apologize, Ash. I don't have your super chat. If you do have it on your phone, I think you're on the BNR group, and I do like to, whether it's a super chat from previous shows, if you missed it, it's only right if we read it out. But if you got that, just put it on the BNR group right now, and then I'll read it out. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's something old, we don't care. It deserves to be read out. But Bilal, our very own Bilal, he says, yes, Vicky, we need 4 new starting 11 players to challenge Manchester City. That's his club, by the way. 3 midfielders, 2 midfielders, and a CDM plus a left-sided centre-back. Bella Koshap, 25 million. Saj Pep says hi with a kiss emoji. Who wants to take that? Vicky?
Yeah, I agree with him, and I really like Bella Kochap. Southampton going down could be a good steal. 4 starting players, 3 midfielders, 2 centre. I want flipping Mbappe as well. 2 years ago, ain't gonna happen. It's FSG. We don't make these team sheets and bloody. It's like fantasy football, man.
No. He's saying 3 midfielders, 2 central midfielders, and a CDM. Oh, he said plus a left side.
That isn't happening. I'd be very,
That's
very.
4 players, man. He's only asking for 3 midfielders and a left centre back.
Yeah, but it's FSG. I want that. That's what we need.
No, I think that's what we're gonna get that.
You're gonna get 3 midfielders and the centre back.
If Gravenberch is around about 25 million and Bella Koshap is 25 million,
but we're not gonna get a 6. That's what he says.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I said I don't see Fabinho getting replaced. I think we're gonna give Fabinho 1 more year to prove himself in the first team. And if
is Bella Kochap, he's not a left centre back or to play that role anyway, but not a natural one anyway.
I agree.
Okay, I'm just trying to see if I missed any comments. Oh, there we are. Ash is in the comments. As I should have known, he would be here. He goes, I can't remember, don't we, lads? Macam Mount, get them done in next 2 weeks. Yeah, I think you might hear a bit of news from in the world of Liverpool and transfers.
Look at
Makamau.
it. And Dico goes, Bascom, Chris Bascom, Liverpool expect to sign at least 4 players. Look, that's the minimum, Asim. That is the minimum. Personally, I think I've always said we need at least 5, but 4 is the bare minimum. But 4 players, I'd only accept if we're gonna go and spend money on them 4 players, like decent amount of money. Then it's worth it. Then it's okay. You know what? You can accept 4 because they're 4 players that are most likely going to challenge and get into the starting 11. Well, none of this project. I don't want to hear this project bullshit, Asim.
Atik says, can we topple City with these players? Because that's the question, isn't it?
Yes. If we get them, then we can. With them 4 that Bilal mentioned, if we get 4 players, then we can.
McAllister, Mount, Gravenberch, and Bella
If
Koscielny.
if we get a 6, a centre back, and 2 midfielders, 2 8s, then we can challenge, man.
Yeah, no, we can challenge, but we need Ugarte, man. We need a proper 6, man.
Yeah, you know what? Yesterday's game, when Douglas Luiz and Kamara especially were winning duels, it was crying out for someone to sort of put their body. That's it. That's what we needed, and I was getting really frustrated. Sometimes you need your sort of ball winner to stamp his authority onto a game. It only sometimes takes one challenge to get everyone on board, and it just didn't come. It didn't come. So many of our players were just initiating the press, and it was too late. I don't want to single anyone out because there was a few, but it was crying out for a proper physical monster in midfield, and we just missed that this season. And it was like it was very, it's I don't know, it reminded me of the sort of days where we were before the World Cup, where we were seeing teams come to Anfield and away from home, where we were just looking toothless. But yeah, we made it a game of it, and we got the draw because I didn't want to lose yesterday with the whole wasting time antics, the referees antics. I did not want to lose yesterday, and although a win would have obviously been nice, it was kept us still in the hunt for top 4. But it was important we didn't lose, especially with Bobby leaving and everyone else with their presentations. It would have been a really a damper on the day. But thank you very much, guys. That is everything that we had to discuss today. I don't know who's making the trip down Southampton, but we'll make an executive decision today. Gene, you're making the trip down to Saints, so enjoy that 6-hour trip and provide us the last game outside Southampton. They're going down.
Some analysis on Lavia, man.
Yeah, maybe we can be.
You're definitely going on. You're the tactical master.
We went last year.
Tactical master.
Yeah,
remember the team we put out last year against Saints?
We were at that game. I remember in proper rain.
You used to work in Southampton, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So you're used to that. You're used to that.
Drive.
Yeah. You used to drive. You know all the hotels in Southampton.
Last time made me drive all the way there. Didn't even say, you know what? I'll drive for an hour on the way back. Made me drive all the way back as well.
Yeah,
you remember? Didn't even offer that game.
But the problem with Gene is he never stops at services. He just wants to get home. 6-hour drive, 12 hours combined. We did not
you dropped us off on some random street. We got a taxi back. I remember, bro.
I remember now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget JW Road. Yeah, we can maybe get Abby on the live stream to get him get an opinion on James Ward-Prowse. But thank you very much, guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. We're on the race to 5K. We really want to get to that sort of milestone. I know it probably won't happen this season, but early parts of the season, even during the summer, when you see these transfer shows, whenever we get linked properly to a player, we'll do some special shows as well. And behind me, it's nearly done as well. So stay tuned for those studio. Or there's a team grimacing, but we're optimistic. But it's gonna happen. I promise you, it's gonna happen. Maybe the next week or so. If you get your ass over to Keithley, we actually
don't blame me. I've always been ready.
Don't blame me.
If you get your ass over to Keithley, you can maybe do one.
Now, see, they're trying to divert to me. When I tell them to get it ready, yep, it's ready. When I turn up, it takes them 4 hours to get it ready. So sorry, mate. Don't blame me.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. That was BNR. And have a good night. Take care.